It's funny because like episode 1, I was so nervous. I couldn't even like eat. I was so nervous because that was the first time I saw you face to face. Because there are a few episodes where like we're both unhappy with and we were like, Rox, you know what? Just got to let it go. Like it's not our best, but we just have to accept that some episodes aren't going to be amazing, right?
And they might grow on us.
Welcome to the Asian Soup Podcast. This is your co-host Jules.
And this is your co-host Rox.
The Asian Soup Podcast is your cozy space on the internet where we share and discover real stories about one another.
We chat about a range of topics from careers, personal growth, relationships, and much more.
Come sit with us
and get
nourished.
Happy 1 year anniversary, Jules.
Oh my God, 1 year anniversary. Can you believe it, Rox?
Yeah, it's pretty hard to believe. We were just saying that it feels more like 6 months to me than a year. When I think about the first day, it feels like it was only a few months ago. But considering so much has happened in between. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah. How about you? How do you feel about this 1 year?
I think, I can't believe it's been a year and I can't believe we're recording this episode as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it just felt like not that long ago we lost some video files for episode 2, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like it feels like we haven't come a long way, but then I think moments like these, like where you reflect and look back, you're like, oh, you know what? We've actually done a lot and you can give, a little pat on the back.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I'll just do a quick intro.
Sure.
Yeah, so like in this episode, we want to just kind of go through, our learnings, reflections on what it's been like recording and being podcasters in the past year. And yeah, we will share any goss or any tea that we may have. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this episode. The first thing we can chat about is our goals. So we did set some goals in the beginning when we were, coming up with the podcast name and doing all that stuff in the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, what were our goals and, did we hit them?
Yeah. So I'll just go through some of our short-term goals that we first listed out
1 year ago.
1 year ago. In our crazy Notion, brain dump.
Yeah.
So first point was learn how to create, produce, and publish a podcast series together. Next one was create one season with 6 episodes, each 30 to 40 minutes long. Probably not 30 to 40 minutes long. Exploring topics and discussions that are important to us and being able to share our perspectives freely. I think pretty much done.
Yeah, I think the last bit, being able to, what was it?
Share our perspectives freely.
I feel pretty free on the podcast. I mean, there are times where I'm like, okay, maybe we need to edit that bit out. But I think overall, when I look back at the episodes, I'm like, you know what? We're pretty vulnerable and we share our honest feelings and experiences on this podcast. So I would give that a big tick.
Yeah, big tick. It's interesting that we broke it down like that as well, because I feel like I could speak to you clearly, and then even though I'm speaking to you and we have a friendship and we also chat outside of the podcast, it's interesting that I feel safe to share certain things, even though sometimes we share things and we're like, okay, we might cut it, like you just said. Yeah, it just feels like it is very free to speak and share. So yeah, it's good that we put that down there. Next one was early December release, right before Christmas break at the latest. We released our first episode in end of September and we had a chat early September. Was that right?
Something like that. So
last year.
It's not exactly our 1 year. We're like 1 year and a few months.
Yeah. But still.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is pretty interesting.
Is pretty wild.
Because we were just like, let's just release it. Who cares?
Yeah, it happened really quickly.
Let's just record it and release it. Yeah.
It happened in 2 weeks, everything.
Oh my gosh.
So we set these goals and we actually hit all of them, which is pretty wild.
I can't believe it.
But yeah, anyway. What's the next goal?
Next is podcast and YouTube format, which is done.
We do both audio and YouTube format. So check out our YouTube channel.
Yep.
If you want to see what we look like.
And our last one to tick off was gain confidence in building a podcast with a new buddy.
I love that goal.
Isn't that so
Do
cute?
you feel you've gained confidence in, what is it? Like podcasting, right? The skill of podcasting?
In building a podcast.
Oh, in building a podcast.
With a new buddy. For sure. I feel like a little bit of me thought that I would be able to speak a bit better, to which maybe a tiny bit, but I feel like in general, I'm just speaking like I'm a normal person. I don't know. You know how there's some podcasts out there that are very educational, or the way people speak is very clear and presentation style. I thought I would get a bit more of that. And I thought I could translate a bit of this speaking communication into my like professional work situation. But I don't know. I don't really think that's happened. But maybe it has. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm just talking to you like a friend. Do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean. I actually, when I, go back to our old podcast, or when I'm like looking at the edits or like editing, I always think, wow, Rox, you're so articulate.
Wow. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're good at, like, a lot of our podcast episodes and topics, it's not really planned.
I'm
It's
good
not
at
planned.
bullshitting, and I'm
You're
good at
so-
pulling shit out of my ass.
You're so good at like just like I'll toss a question at you and you'll just be like blah, 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 and you're so good at it. And I'm like, whoa, like
I talk a
you're
lot of
very
shit.
articulate,
Thank you.
which I think is very admirable.
Thank
so in
you.
that aspect, I think, I don't know if it's a skill that's
maybe
gone
it's
better.
improved. Maybe.
So let's talk about the podcast name. We've kept the same name, haven't we? Like from the beginning till now. How are you feeling about the name? Do you still like it?
I still love the name. I still love Asian Soup Podcast. I feel like just saying it, because talking about confidence just before, I feel more confident now to say that I have a podcast. And when I share the name, it's always really fun. Like, oh, what's it called? Oh, it's called Asian Soup Podcast. We don't really talk about soups, but we do have soup at the end and share a bit. And, it's just me and my new friend, not so new anymore, but just, talking about different topics. And one of the best topics we had was the career transition one. And that's kind of like my intro if people ask me what I do outside of work. So, yeah, I do like Asian Soup Podcast. People are like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
How about you?
I was just had a flashback just then when you were saying all that, because I remember that we almost called ourselves Asian Group Podcast.
Yeah.
Can you believe it? Like, can you imagine if we stuck with that name?
I don't like it anymore.
We would have been like, welcome to the Asian Group Podcast. No.
It sounds so weird because when I think about group, I don't think of, when I just hear it now, when we just said it, I think of Asian Group Podcast as like, I don't know, like a band group, like a music group, or
yeah.
I don't think of the original idea of, an Asian group at school, because that was what we thought. And then a lot of friends were like, oh, we didn't have an Asian group, or what do you mean?
Yeah.
It sounds exclusive.
Yeah.
So we just scrapped it.
Yeah, and then we changed it to Asian Soup. And I'm just so glad because I also really love the name as well. And if someone asks me what, the podcast name is, I also feel very comfortable and excited to share the podcast name because I think it sparks curiosity. They're like, oh.
Yeah.
You know what? Like,
I love how vague it is.
It is vague.
Even though I don't know if that's a good thing. You know what I mean?
I think it is. It's
Asian
like,
soup. What do you mean? Is it about soup? It could be. It is a little bit
to find out.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, we have this one comment on Apple Podcasts.
Okay, yeah.
And it says like, came here for the Asian soup, but stayed for the cozy vibes.
Cozy vibes. Yeah, that's exactly.
When I read that, I was like, Rox, look at this.
They got it.
Who is E.S. Harris? Like,
we translated that.
Yeah, like that was exactly exactly what we wanted to achieve. And then somebody writing that, like going to the effort to put that as a comment. Thank you so much. Like,
Thank you so much.
It's like those little things I think that really help. And so comments like those that make me realize like, oh, we're doing something nice.
Yeah. For sure.
It's transcending like what we transcending, is that the right word? Like we're
I think
communicating like what we want to achieve.
Yeah, like what our vision, we're translating sending out our vision.
Yeah.
And people are receiving what we plan to put out there. You know?
Yeah.
They got it. You got it.
You're getting it.
But yeah, I'm really proud of that. Let's chat about how we met.
Yeah, let's chat about how we met. Okay, so I think how we met, it's a bit complicated, but officially I would say through LinkedIn. You know what? We should totally like screenshot it and like share it. We should share it on our Instagram. Like
Sure.
It was probably something so professional like, hi Roxanne, la. You know what I mean? Like I sent a LinkedIn, not even a Facebook Messenger. I sent you a LinkedIn message to you.
Yes, but our mutual friend gave me the heads up.
Oh, so you knew I was coming?
Yeah, I knew you coming.
Oh, okay. I didn't know you knew I was coming.
Sure. Okay, why not, you know?
Okay, so our mutual friend, she was like, hey, you know, like she definitely planted the seed. She said to me at least like, oh, you know, I have a friend, like I feel like you guys are going through the same thing, like from a career point of view, you know. She was just saying something like that, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll reach out to her. And then did she say anything to you?
Yeah, I think so. I think she said,
she did.
Julia might reach out to you over LinkedIn or something, or Messenger. Wants to chat to you about like some career stuff. Something like that.
Oh,
Should I look it up?
No. We'll share it. We'll share it in a Facebook post.
Yeah.
I mean, not Facebook, Instagram post.
Yeah.
And then, so I sent you a message saying, hey, like.
No, you didn't message me on LinkedIn.
Oh, I didn't?
Must have been Messenger.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, not LinkedIn, hey? Not Messenger.
I think it was always Messenger.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'll have to go to the very top of our.
It's too far. We chat so much.
Okay, it must be Messenger.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the confusing part.
That's the confusing part. Okay.
So, okay, where do we begin again? Okay, so, yeah, our mutual friend sort of gave each other the heads up. And then I reached out to Rox, actually not on LinkedIn, on Facebook Messenger. And I said, hey, like, I think you're in digital marketing now, which is really cool. So am I. I think we should, like, it would be great if we could, like, catch up one day. Right? I said something like that,
Something like that.
And then Rox was like, yeah, sure, sounds great. And then I think you were really, like, nice about it too. I think you were, like, kind of not proactive. What's the word?
Well,
but
I don't
like,
know, when are you free?
Yeah, you're like, when are you free?
Because this was
which
during
is so
lockdown
nice.
last year as well.
Yeah.
Like, you know, there's not much, like, I was super free to
Yeah.
chat, you know?
Yeah. So I think you were like, when are you free? Which makes me feel comfortable too, because you're like inviting me to have a chat. So yeah, we're like, I think it was.
But we've also known of each other
true.
for a long time. So it wasn't like you was completely out of the blue.
Yeah. So bit of context, like we weren't complete strangers. Like we knew of each other and we said hello to each other during our university days. My sort of main memory of you in uni is when you were outside the library and then we said hello to each other. That's like my sort of only main like memory of you at uni.
Yeah.
And you have like your fashion like stuff, like always carrying stuff.
Carrying too much
like,
stuff.
You look like a fashion girl.
Oh my gosh.
Know?
No. Oh my gosh.
Don't cringe. And then you're like,
cringe.
Like Rox was like the cool girl, but like so friendly as well.
Oh, hopefully.
Like cool girl vibes, you know?
Thank you. I remember, memories of you was really around UTS library and that cafe, because that was the cafe outside the language area, because we were both doing international studies at UTS. So I guess we were at the same kind of areas for class, but you did Japanese and I did French. Yeah, I remember like just waving to you if
Yeah.
I ever like saw you pass by, or if you're with my friend, our mutual friend.
But I don't feel
And
like
yeah,
we
and
really
also like
talked, though.
Strathfield area. Like,
We
I don't know,
didn't
we just
talk.
wave. I just know that you're friends of a friend.
But I feel
And I'd be like, oh, okay.
did we talk? We didn't, right? I don't.
Nah, I just say hi. It would be a
little bit like
situation
hello.
where it just say hi, and it would be, say, your friend
Yeah.
speaking to me. Something like that, you know? It wouldn't be like, we would never come up to each other and say, talk, really.
Nah, I had no idea what your personality was like.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah?
Me either.
But I knew you were nice because you wave.
Yeah, me too, too.
So going back to the future. So yeah, that's how we met. Like, and then we did like we organized a call, and I think it was literally like 2 days after that message.
Yeah.
On Facebook, we had like a call, like a 1 hour or 2 hour call.
Yeah.
And for the first hour, we were talking about our careers, right?
Yeah.
I was like venting about like the situation I was in and asking about like what you're doing. Like basically like both of us had gone through lots of different career transitions and we really bonded over that, right?
I think it was funny because like when you asked me what I was doing, I was also doing something new. So I was like, I can tell you what I've done, but it's not really like, I don't really know what I'm doing. So it was kind of funny because I also don't know what I'm doing, you know?
Yeah.
So I felt like it was very, it was kind of similar because we're in an area professionally that we're so flexible in. Like we could,
true.
Our careers aren't like, you know, lawyer or very clear like engineer. It's a bit varied.
Yeah.
You know, you could go into digital marketing, you could do a bit of SEO, you could do content, like you could do social, you could do brand stuff. Like it's very open.
fluid,
So
yeah.
we were very, it was very similar.
I think we bonded over the fact that we were both confused.
Yeah. And we had this passion on the side.
Yeah, so that was like what we realized also in that call. And then, so we talked 1 hour about our career, and then the second hour, we just started chatting about like YouTube, side hustles, like other passions, and then we were like podcasts. I was like, oh, do you want to do a podcast with me? I don't know. I just felt like we were chatting about so many good things on that call.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know, stuff like this we should share more because this is the stuff that people, well, at least I would want to hear.
Yeah.
And then this lady was like, yeah, sure, let's do it.
Yeah, let's do
podcast.
it. I was like, I always wanted to start a podcast too. And then why not? Like really, why not? If you wanted to do it, but I couldn't do it on my own. Not that I couldn't, but I just don't have enough to say on my own. I like chatting to someone.
Yeah,
and I like
too.
chatting to friends. So yeah, I guess that's why it's working out. We're just chatting and chatting.
And I also knew like Rox, because you have a fashion brand on the side as well. So I knew when you said let's do it, I knew you were serious. Because like honestly, if someone's done something before, like it's almost like a resume, you know? Like they have that track record.
She screened me.
Yeah.
Are you sure you
passed my
saying
screening?
that?
Actually, that call about our career was my podcast screening
interview.
call.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And then because I knew you've done that, I knew that would be really interesting to work with somebody who's, you know, been in another partnership before. So yeah. And look at us now.
I know.
Still doing it.
And yeah, I think I don't know if we talked about ramen parties in that chat, but yeah, I also knew that you sounded very similar to me where, you know, you were going to do a cafe, you did ramen parties. Like I kind of just knew also like, let's just do a few episodes. Like we planned 6 episodes. That doesn't seem like a crazy amount. What else am I going to do, you know, at the time?
Let's talk about our
routine.
Our routine. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So this is like a great end of week routine for me.
It's Friday today.
It's Friday night. You know, we went and got our bubble teas. We might bring a soup to try later or go shop for a soup or something. We catch up for like an hour. It feels just very familiar, close. I can chat to you like you're a new friend. I'm not gonna go out on a Friday night really now. And yeah, it's just so like therapeutic and comfortable to just chat. I don't know. How about you?
I think that's been like the key thing for us, like to make us keep doing the podcast. But yeah, we've like really turned it into a routine, I think.
Like this is relaxing for me.
Yeah,
like
it's relaxing.
This Friday night vibe is very fun, relaxing.
Yeah.
And something I want to come and meet up to do. It's like meeting up with a friend, but you're recording a podcast episode.
Yeah. I think so. It's funny because like episode 1, I was so nervous. I couldn't even like eat. I was so nervous because that was the first time I saw you face to face.
Yeah. And the first time we were recording.
Yeah. And I couldn't even breathe. I was like,
I wasn't nervous. I don't know if I was nervous.
Chill.
I was chill, but I just didn't know what I was doing. I was just like there talking, like I didn't know what I was saying and I just couldn't even talk properly.
It was like, for me, it was like an out of body experience, you know, when you're like, you're there, but you're like, you don't, because, you know, the lights were unfamiliar. We had some like, not real lights, but like, I don't know, it just felt
the lighting, it got dark.
Yeah. Whereas now, like, even when we turn the camera on and we start recording, I still feel like myself and I feel chill.
Yeah.
And yeah, as you said, it has been very, very therapeutic. Also, there have been tricky times, which we can talk about a little bit later. But I think that having that flow and having into a routine is good. So Rox does this thing where you put in our calendars, like when we're going to record. So I think that's really helpful. Like she'll schedule in like this day, and roughly you know that Fridays and Saturdays are good and sometimes the occasional Sunday works for us.
Yeah.
So we know that now and then we just book it in and like we're like, oh yeah, we know that's our recording day. But I think we're really lucky that we know that too, because like for another person, like I might have been that person that's like, nah, I'm no way recording on a Friday. Friday nights are for something else.
Yeah.
You know, but I think we have similar values in that we're like, oh, we're happy to do this on a Friday night or on a Saturday night.
I think, and it definitely took some learning. I think there was like one time where I was trying to fit it in and I had something after, like I had to go to a dinner afterwards and it just didn't, when we're not in a relaxed environment or I have to rush somewhere, I realized that I wasn't giving my best relaxed self. Do you know what I mean? Like if you're like fitting it in that day, I felt like, because I think that was one of the episodes that we've deleted as well. So we've deleted a few, but not that many, but then it was interesting to find out that, okay, no, we need like no distractions, and we go home and then we, you know, go to bed. So it's more like setting out that time and being able to freely speak.
And I
was
think
good to realize. It didn't happen that much, but I think we quickly realized that.
Yeah, because we realized what our style is. Yeah. So I know other podcasters, they would meet in like a 3-hour time slot or 2-hour time slot and churn out like 1, 2 or 3 episodes in like one sitting and in one session. Yeah. Whereas for us, in like a 3-hour session, we would chat for 2.5 hours and maybe record for like an hour. Okay, that's 3.5 hours, but
like we'll chat for a long time. We'll chat for an hour, we'll record for an hour. We'll wind down for an hour, you know, like we'll drive home, have a chat. Like, how did you think that went? What's going on? Like, but it's nice.
That's how it works for us. And I remember like, so we chat with like other podcasters, right?
And we'll chat in the car for ages as well.
Sometimes I'll just turn the engine off and then we'll just chat even more.
Like, so should I start opening the door and leaving them when we're chatting?
I know. So it's like we say 3 hours, but honestly, it's probably like 5 hours. Realistically,
it's basically a night out. Like it's a Friday night out with your friend.
It is. And then like, so we have these like podcaster friends, and then we told them like our process, and they were quite surprised. They were like, "Oh, whoa,
that's not
because we're not efficient at all."
No. We've tried to record 2 episodes in one night before. So
more than once, I feel.
More than once.
Yeah.
We did that a few times just to catch up. And then now that we're in a good place, we're like, nah, let's just chill. We got this.
Yeah.
We got this. We're in ahead of schedule.
Yeah. I feel like the second half of our like recording like
year,
we're both like, you know what? Your well-being is most important. My well-being is most important. I think that is like our top value. Like, you know how businesses have values and stuff? I think this is like our number one value is like well-being.
Yeah.
Like our self well-being.
Yeah.
And then next, I would say it's fun.
It's fun. Yeah.
And then number 3, maybe like creativity or something. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But I feel like that also reflects how the podcast is. So, for example, okay, I don't know if
we're not
you
that
guys
strict on
notice, but yeah, we're really relaxed with the release dates.
Yeah.
Like we try to do every 2 weeks, but
we don't want to like stress. Like we still do it. We obviously still do it, but we're just like, I think at the start too, we try to keep it. We do still hit it.
Yeah.
2-ish weeks.
Yeah. 2-ish weeks.
2-ish weeks. But it's just life happens, you know, and then, you know, we both work full time. You might be traveling, I might be traveling, might be some editing issue, or we want to just have one more edit before we release it. But we don't want to like lose sleep over it, you know, like there's bigger stuff.
Yeah.
And also, and we're not making money off this right now.
And also when we were chatting before recording this episode, like you mentioned, Rox, that we also do video versions of the podcast as well. And I feel like that's actually a big element. Like that more than
takes
we think.
time. Yeah.
Yeah. Like we've only done video from the beginning. So that's
even
the norm for us.
Uploading the file takes time.
Yeah. So you've got the video file. There's time uploading that. But also like audio issue alone is enough, like we mentioned before.
Yeah.
But camera issues, there's always stuff up there. Like I don't hit record. I actually did that today. For this recording, I didn't press record, so I had to like do it again. Didn't hit record
or lose a file.
Yeah, lose a file. I've done that before. I've deleted a file. I think I've done that twice already.
But it's just like, you know, I think the first time I lost like a few audio files, like we just got through it. And now it's like, you know, if we do lose it, we can do it again, or we just upload the audio version and it's fine.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So I would say
it's
like,
not the end of the world.
So if someone was to like come and work with us, like the way I would describe it, like a third person joined us, I'll be like, you know what? Our style is very chill. If we delete something,
mistakes are fine.
Yeah. It just happens.
I love that. Yeah,
we have a very good culture in that way. Like I feel like the first time I deleted something, I was a bit like, oh, shit, like I feel so bad, but you were like, oh, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
That was actually episode 2, our career change episode.
Yeah.
We had to re-record that one 3 times.
Yeah. But we changed the angle and it worked out to be our best episode.
To be the best episode for us.
Yeah.
But also the process of getting there, it could have been a painful one, but it was actually like, I actually felt like, oh wow, this is what Rox is like. Like you're so chill and understanding.
Yeah.
I can see myself working with you.
Like long term. But also like that would have happened anyway at some point, because considering we re-met and then 2 weeks later we recorded and didn't know what we were talking about and released it.
Yeah.
We didn't have any mistakes before or practice before. So it's like, it's almost like we were practicing throughout this whole year.
Yeah. Yeah.
And getting through it. So it's just like, it's going to happen. But I feel like doing it, like you said before, is the most pushing, like the biggest way to learn.
Yeah.
Actually doing it and making those mistakes is the biggest way. Like now you have this like SD card fold out, like process, like little organization thing. Like
I label all my SD cards.
Yeah, it's just like just little things, you know. And I don't know. I just try not to get too caught up. Like, but when I lost the audio, I definitely felt bad too. But I just, it's not too. This is fun, you know.
Yeah. So we touched briefly on sort of like the difficult parts that we've had. What are some, challenges or any tea or that you want to share during the past year of recording the podcast?
Difficult parts. I think like we seem really chill now, but I feel like we got through a few things by letting go, like both letting go. So it's not always easy, but it's like, but when I talk to you about something, then it's like, oh, actually, it's fine. Then I feel a bit better.
Can you give us an example of something that you would just, be like, oh, okay, I actually just need to let this go?
Just some things I say or share. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't know if I'm speaking too much, or the way I said something, like something tiny, or even in the episode where we talked about fashion and I'm like, I have the worst outfit ever in that episode. Like, who am I to talk about outfits? Like, I literally I donated that hoodie after that.
Are you
day.
serious?
I looked at it, I'm like, just doesn't, like, it's not good. It just isn't good. It's comfy, but I was like, goodbye. But yeah, like, but at the end of the day, I feel like it's not a real challenge, but I think I used to wear more makeup for the episodes, but now I'm like, nah.
You know
just
what?
less.
That's so true. Like, because I can see Rox better, right? Because I'm sitting next to her.
Yeah.
You've actually like reduced your makeup, I feel, from episode 1. I feel like every episode, like it's just less and less makeup. Because I'm just like, oh, I actually noticed you have freckles.
I have freckles,
like from the past few episodes. I'm like, oh, you've got freckles. They look so cute.
There was one episode where I didn't wear any lip color, but I felt, and I looked a bit dead. But like, I think our beauty standards episode, and we had a huge chat about beauty and insecurities. Yeah. And after that chat, I was like, I need to embrace my skin a bit more and my natural beauty a bit more. And I felt,
nice.
But like that's through chatting with you on this podcast, chatting about things we wouldn't maybe usually always chat about. Because I feel like we chat about this as friends or with our other friends, but I think we go a little bit deeper sometimes. Yeah. And I've learned so much about myself. How about you?
Similar. Like what Rox said about letting go. Sometimes, you said that, oh, why did I say that? Honestly, if it's like a little thing, it's easy to kind of cut out. Yeah. But if it's like 30 minutes, you're talking about something that's like, oh my God, why am I saying that? Or like the whole episode, you're like, oh my God, this, like, do I just need to let it go? Because there are a few episodes where like we're both unhappy with and we were like, Rox, you know what? Just got to let it go. Like, it's not our best, but we just have to accept that some episodes aren't going to be amazing, right?
And they might grow on us. But if it's really that bad, like a couple of them, then we both are like, delete.
Yeah.
Delete.
But then I feel like later down the track, we started, rather than deleting, try to just salvage it.
Yeah, we talked about that topic in a different way or something.
Yeah, or we just like completely chop it. And like an hour and a half recording might become like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And that actually is like a pretty good solution.
Yeah.
Rather than like us saying nah and delete.
True.
Yeah, I would say that is sort of very similar to you. And also just like through the podcast, because we do video as well, it's like I notice so many things about myself through the camera. I'm just like, why am I doing like dinosaur hands or like why am I
do the weirdest hand things? Didn't Curtis from Infatuation podcast was like, oh, what's Rox doing with the hand?
Yeah.
But we noticed these things.
Or feet or like blinking. Like I'm like, oh crap. I actually realized through the podcast I have dry eyes. Because I'm like, wow, why am I like blinking more when I'm recording? I think because I have dry eyes. So I'm just like, wow, that's like interesting. Like I would have never known these things, right? But also one thing I noticed a lot about myself that I had to like sort of let go, or even it was an opportunity for me to improve, is like my language, in the sense that like sometimes I would say things like, I feel like the way you say something says so much about who you are and what you're like.
The tone and stuff.
Yeah. And I feel like I've learned a lot about myself watching myself talk. I'm like, wow, why am I talking like that? Or why am I... You could
Really?
go down like a negative way. Yeah,
you're taking it wrong. Like, but you're overthinking that. Oh, do I sound like a bitch or something? Or do I sound
like condescending, or do I sound
yeah.
like, I don't know, I'm showing off, or I don't know, like all the, you know, negative things, especially, you know, if the weather's a bit bad and like, you know, you're hungry and a bit tired, like it's easy to nitpick yourself.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But I think being able to just accept yourself for who you are, if whoever, you know, what you're seeing in this on the screen or what you're hearing, I think
it's interesting. Like, that. I think you say this, and I think when I listen back or when you point out those moments to me, I don't notice it, even though I was here. But I think I think when you think about those moments, it's like you think about it and you know what else is going on in your life that you thought was directly related to how you were feeling and looking that day.
Yeah.
But only you know that.
Yeah, yeah,
you know?
Yeah. That's true.
But I know because you tell me.
Yeah,
but then
yeah,
I feel like as an audience, like we're still talking through things and you know, it's still good.
Yeah. And similarly,
and it's not that it's bad, but I'm just saying like it's about like us nitpicking at ourselves again.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And similarly, like the stuff that you bring up, I'm just like,
what are you talking about? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's so funny. Every single episode we would like drop comments to each other like,
I don't really like that
why are we doing
bit?
this and why are we doing this? But then 99% of the time we're like, what?
Yeah, like
what are you
that's
talking
not
about?
a thing. Yeah, definitely another thing I need to stop. I think I've been just like this in general, but I always cut in. Like Julia's about to say something, she's about to like share something she started, and I'm like, oh, blah, blah, blah. Like I really need to still stop that. I just did that before. Like that's something I need to stop.
I think it's because I talk too slow.
No,
I leave breaks, so I'm like, because I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And it's actually like, but I like it when you cut in as well, because it's like,
like maybe it's just natural.
That's the conversation.
Maybe that's the conversation. Yeah. But then sometimes I'm like, I should have just shut up then. Let you finish.
In terms of like, if we ever had any beef or anything like that, I wouldn't say we've had any beef.
I don't think so. It's been pretty nice.
Yeah.
I think, we're always on the same page, or if we're not, we kind of like share, and then we'll always land on something we're both comfortable with.
Yeah.
And I trust your judgment on stuff. Yeah, it's just interesting because like when we were reflecting about it as well, I'm like, oh, this is very similar to how Kendra and I work. Like we don't ever fight either.
For Rox's,
it's for kin,
side business.
My side business, yeah. So like, I never fight with Kendra either. It's more like we'll chat with something. If we're not both on the same page, we just won't do it. Or we'll do something else, you know? Like, yeah. But maybe I need some conflict. I don't know.
Yeah, no,
there's enough conflict.
Yeah, we don't fight. We definitely don't fight, and we're not like hot-headed, at least to each other.
Yeah.
But I do feel like we're really good at navigating and like communicating like what we want and what we don't want. And, you know, we catch up so much before and after recording anyway. So I think those are the times when we can like, we share a lot of things. So we kind of know where each other are at in each other's lives.
Yeah.
So I think that really helps as well.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. Let's get nourished. So today we have just a Chinese watercress soup. I know it's very similar to all the soups like Chinese soups we've had before, but I felt like the watercress might be a bit different to the other ones. But yeah, one of my favorites. It's just pork bone, watercress, like Asian watercress, onion, which is random. What are those little things called again? Goji berries. I didn't have carrot, so I used sweet potato.
Yummy.
Thank you.
It's kind of sweet. Did you add something to sweet in it?
The sweet potato, maybe?
It's similar to the other pork broth ones.
Yeah.
But I think the watercress is so crunchy.
Crunchy?
Like it's got good texture, like a good bite.
There's
but
a bit of, yeah. But also, yeah.
It makes it sort of like earthy, the broth. I like it.
The watercress is weird because like my friend was like, because when it's fresh, you smell it. It doesn't smell like anything. But then I feel like you need to, there's this point when the soup and the watercress gets cooked enough that there's a bit of like a bitterness to the watercress. But yeah, I think that's what the earthy flavor is from the watercress.
Yum. So when would you, like how often do you have this soup?
I just saw it at the shops today. Like I was at the Asian grocer and they had the watercress, so I just bought it. They don't always have watercress, so if I see it and I feel like making it, then I'll get it. I've only made it a few times this year, so.
Is it an entree soup?
Yes. Yes, you guessed right.
I thought while we're having the soup, we can answer more questions reflecting back on the year doing the podcast. What was your favorite episode? Maybe like recording, but also like listening back, because sometimes it's different. Your favorite to record and the favorite to listen back can be different.
The favorite to record for me probably was the karaoke one. I mean, that was so fun. That was just really fun. Listening back, I really loved the beauty episode still.
Beauty standards.
I thought it was just really fun. And I think that was one of the first fun ones that I was like, oh, I like that energy. And I wanted us to still keep it fun and light, something we're confident about speaking and we have knowledge of. I felt like that episode was one of them because it was something just spontaneous. We were like, oh, let's talk about it. It wasn't planned as well, but it was a topic there that we just picked up and went for that we already could talk forever about. How about you?
Yeah, also same. Most fun to record was karaoke.
Yeah.
It's almost like I had too much fun. Like when I look back at it, I'm just like, oh my God, girl, you need to calm down a bit.
Are we going to cringe when it's out? I'm like, oh, I'm waiting to cringe, but I also had so much fun. Like recording was so
fun. But I think it's going to be one of those things where it was like fun for us, but not that fun to watch.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think that one's for us.
Whatever, yeah.
That one's for us. Yeah. I think my favorite episode will have to be maybe episode 2, like the career change episode. That one's like kind of meaningful because I think that's the reason why we caught up in the first place. I think if we hadn't had that in common, honestly, it's hard to make friends in your 30s. And I feel like we wouldn't have probably like bonded like this, to be honest.
Without that.
Yeah. And I feel like the fact that we did an episode on it, but also people really enjoy it, considering it's like one of our first few episodes and we weren't even good at talking into the mic and we're still nervous and all that. Like having a lot of people give us feedback on that, especially anyone who's going through a career change, I think that episode's really helpful. And I feel really happy and it feels good to know that. That's always going to be there for somebody who's going through a career change.
Yeah, I'm very proud of that episode as well. But it's also really nice that it is the reason how we got together. Yeah. And it's also interesting because even though we don't talk about career all the time, this isn't a career podcast, but as friends, we chat about our careers a lot. Like every time we meet up, we'll chat about our careers, what's going on, just, you know, what we're working towards or just how's it going? Like work, I think, even though we have these hobbies and side things, it's still a very important part of our lives that we have similar experiences in. Even though we've changed jobs and stuff, we still have very similar feelings and going through similar things. So I guess the final thing, or not final, but it doesn't have to be final, but like what you said about meeting friends and it's not easy. I think it's been really nice to meet a friend who has a similar career experience, but isn't, you know, I didn't meet you from work, you know, per se, because we've never worked in the same company. Yeah. But we have very similar things that we've going through or gone through. Yeah. So Yeah, because not all your friends are in your industry. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just nice to chat to you and you get what I'm talking about straight away.
Yeah.
It's not like, what do you do? Like, what do you
Yeah.
actually do? You
I
know?
can ask really specific questions to Rox.
Yeah.
And you'll be like, oh, and then you ask all these questions. I'm like, it just feels so good that like it will be the most specific question, right?
Yeah.
Like, and then yeah, it is really nice to have that person.
Yeah. So I guess, after a year, it's been nice. And I'm very proud of what we've achieved. Something else that's interesting is like, we really don't know who's listening sometimes.
I knew you were going to say that.
How did you know?
I don't know. I just knew.
Which is so crazy. But whoever you are, thank you for listening.
I don't know, like one of my friends reached out and said, oh, I listened to the podcast. And I was like, really? You do? I still can't believe that people listen to it.
Really?
I'm like, what? Because I keep thinking like, I mean, we have the numbers there, right?
Yeah.
But you don't put a face behind that listen, that number.
Like I know a few of the faces that we chat to that do listen to it.
Yeah. But everyone else, right?
Yeah,
it's like who?
Yeah.
Who are they?
I don't know.
Yeah. And then it's just that really lucky opportunity where I bump into someone. They're like, oh, I listened to your podcast.
And it's
I'm
also
like, what?
very cool when people listen that aren't our friends.
Yeah.
So that's very cool. And also shout out to all the other podcasters we've connected with around the world. How cute. It's so cute. But yeah, it's actually such a nice little friendship that we have with different people. Yeah.
You met 2 people in real life.
And we met a seat at your table.
True.
Too. Yeah. So if you've listened this far, give us a rating, whatever platform you're on, and, give us a follow on Instagram or Facebook. And message us. Let us know if you're listening.
Talk to us. But yeah, specifically a rating on Spotify.
Okay, yeah. Spotify. Or Apple Podcasts.
Yeah.
Give us a like, a thumbs up on YouTube. YouTube.
We'll see you guys in the next episode, which will be the last episode of season 1. Hope you guys are having a wonderful festive season, no matter where you are in the world. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.